Well, in local government, we often hear from service areas that systems don't talk to each other when a system we use, which was providing timesheet information, was to be retired. From an early stage, we saw an opportunity to start the journey of a single system which would be able to offer the functionality we required for timesheets across the whole of every council service. The inefficiencies were obvious to all, that the processes to seek out supply staff and to offer and record overtime work hadn't changed all that much in the past 10 years. That had to change. We needed to be utilising our systems much more efficiently, deliver more streamlined processes for employees, administrators and managers. It was a real opportunity to move away from one-way traffic of submission of timesheets with no visibility until payday. This was about us offering a transparent approach for both managers and staff to view, see updates, even after payday, to see what has happened and why. Ultimately, this helped to reduce the central payroll teams dealing with failure demands in lines of inquiry. So previous to having our work with Teacher Booker, generally services would be manually phoning around staff to seek out availability, matching to the skill sets required, and then employees submitting timesheets. These timesheets would then be transferred to a central timesheet for approval and then for payroll submission. Departments would be using spreadsheets, emails, could be paper timesheets, really a mix of all three before we moved on to the Teacher Booker system. The biggest challenges for us with that previous system of timesheet submission was timescales, error rates. Payroll works to really strict deadlines and processing timescales. The officer time to review hundreds of lines would be time consuming, naturally would hold errors due to sheer volumes, and that's particularly where we see rekeying of information from one system to another, then for final upload. So in terms of West Dunbartonshire Council's digital transformation goals, a key strategic delivery for West Dunbartonshire Council support services in particular is about achieving high standards of management, strong performance, and an effective use of our resources for positive outcomes. Driving up digital skills within our workforce and utilising systems to remove waste, duplication, and improve accuracy need to be embedded in all that we do to deliver for our service users as well as our employees. In terms of our goals around automation and workforce visibility and controlling costs, decisions on effective and efficient services and workforces are made on the basis of data. And having the ability to retrieve this management information will improve our service design and our decision making. And ultimately, that efficiency and effectiveness of delivery of those services brings about cost savings, because ultimately we are in charge of best value within the management team across all of our services. In terms of leadership responding to these changes, it's certainly early days in terms of our journey. However, as more and more services are linking up and hearing about the functionality that the system offers, the successes that have already been achieved, as well as these inefficiencies that I've spoken about, the support to invest has been growing. In terms of the departments that we prioritised in terms of our rollout, we started with our facilities management, that is our catering and cleaning colleagues within our schools and the wider estate, but generally that is made up of the school establishment. We felt that operationally that was one of the best places to start. They use a number of timesheets to support that service, and they would ultimately benefit from the use of the system. This service also had the least risk in terms of providing contingency should it arise. The realisation of the benefits, though, have been quickly established with this group. Some of the other benefits where this group were vast majority were term time based employees, and we introduced the system and its rollout within the school holidays to allow the service to become familiar with the system, to tease out local practices and guidance, and have that transition established when the demands of in-term time resilience was required. In terms of our roadmap for us rolling out into other areas, we're using existing data to find the service areas that utilise timesheets the most in terms of volume and error rates. We work with these services to introduce and demo the system that will ultimately deliver the efficiencies in terms of the staffing resources. Hopefully that is a well-established roadmap in terms of bringing the benefits of the system, and these efficiencies will be realised so much quicker. In terms of our selection of a project where we would be developing with the supplier, local government workforces are unique in their terms and conditions and the terms for payrolling. We needed a supplier who would be understanding of this, be ready to work with us, be ready to meet all of those requirements. We needed a product that would be meeting the framework that we had delivered with Scotland Excel in terms of that scope. Key details from the scoping were delivered from our workshops with our services. So we asked our services what were key deliverables for them. We talked around more or less approaching overtime, and the seeking of cover was the same way across most services. So that made it a much easier fit to look at what we would require from a supplier, albeit we were now doing it across all services. In terms of having something tailored to West Dunbartonshire, it was essential that we found a supplier that would provide us with something that was tailored to our terms and conditions. They're unique to our council. We had to ensure that these have been met and would deliver our payroll requirements, which in turn must meet our own audit obligations. So having all these boxes ticked off were really key. So in terms of digitising workforce management, in terms of timesheets, I think one of the takeaways for us was ensuring that we looked at our processes and find your pain points or your waste. There's no value in replicating that in a digital system. Secondly, I would suggest fail fast. Be ready to change and adapt. Be agile enough to approve those changes. You need the decision makers need to be at the table, or you will lose momentum. And you need momentum when you're dealing with an online system that is pushing out changes essentially every week and at the same time having to meet payroll deadlines. I think for ourselves, in terms of what helped us achieve our success rate with that, has been a lot of collaboration with our services, having all the key stakeholders at regular meetings. I think a lot of good planning and good communication plans with our workforce, with our administrators and management teams, so that nothing was a surprise, really good collaboration, and that helped us provide the solutions to challenges very quickly and to overcome any resultant pain points.